You always want what you can't have, and what you have you can't. But still, my heart, the moment I laid eyes on it. Well, how do you know how you really feel? And everything changes. Please speak. Where will I go? Will you mean? How will I know? How do you know? How do you You always want what you can't have, and what you have you can't. But still, my heart, the moment I laid eyes on it. Well, how do you know how you really feel? When everything changes, please speak. Where will I go? Will you mean? How will I How do you know?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Roommates, the podcast of three roommates that know pretty much absolutely nothing about anything. For the most
Yep.
part.
No, we know nothing about everything.
Nothing about everything. I like that. We know nothing about everything.
Yep.
We've been on a extended hiatus, and I take it that Dave took the liberty of letting the community page know that we were gone.
Yes, I did.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Because we originally left for Dorian, which I still stand by the decision to leave because you saw what it did to the Grand Bahamas. And if it would have been just about 20 miles to the west, we would have had that kind of experience here in Orlando. Lovely voice crack there, but
Yep.
it didn't happen, and that's all that matters. But regardless, it took, about 3 weeks for us because we had already planned on making a trip to St. Louis for Nicole's sister. She got married. And when that happened, we were kind of like, well, if we leave now, we miss Dorian, and then we'll stay. But man, 3 weeks away from your home is a very long time.
Yes.
And I do want to say a special thanks to Griffin, our friend Griffin, that's in OCRP. He did stop by and check on the house, and he took care of like some packages and stuff. So big thanks to Griffin about that. Being away from your home for 3 weeks was just, it was crazy.
Yeah, me and Jeff stayed in his mom's attic, and then Dave was staying at his brother's house. So we were all in like cramped quarters. And because we were evacuating and staying for longer, we ended up taking the pets with us. So it was a zoo.
It was an absolute zoo. At my mom's house alone, we had 5 cats and 3 dogs there. 5 cats and 3 dogs. You know, we only have 3. We have Paulo, Benny, and Luna. But 5 animals in a house that's much, much smaller. And not to mention that we were, up in the attic. And the cats were having such an issue of, like, who could eat what food. And they were just throwing up literally everywhere. It was this minefield up in the attic when we would go upstairs. And my mom has steps that go up into the attic, and they're like literally, I don't know what you would call that. Not 45. I would say like 50 to 55 degrees.
It's like climbing a ladder. Like you have
Angle.
to put your hands on the steps,
To
couple
climb it,
steps
yeah.
above you to like steady yourself because the steps are,
They were steep.
yeah, they're
They
very
were
steep.
very steep.
Yeah, you got to go up there a couple
So
times.
the first couple days, I had to carry Apollo up and down because he wouldn't get up and down the steps. And then actually during the time that we were there, he grew so much that he, like, first of all, he's much bigger now than he was when we left, but he was tackling the steps no problem. Benny, however, had to be carried everywhere, which was awesome because
Yeah.
he's getting old.
Yeah, I had to carry him up a couple times as well. And then like the gate situation was interesting. It's just whenever you're taken out of your home and everything that you know, and then you swept away for up to 3 weeks as it was crazy. I spent 2 days recording, editing, and uploading 13 videos so I could have the time off. During that time, in 2 days, I did that, and then I had a couple times where I was like, you know what, it's not comfortable, and Dave can attest to this. Whenever you're moved out of where you normally record or stream, I only had like one monitor, and I didn't have any other way to like see chat or anything for streams. But even recording, man, it was so weird and different.
It's difficult. I had the same thing. So yeah, I was on a single monitor setup. Like the internet was great, but everything was just so different. The chair I was in was horribly uncomfortable.
Same.
Like I would sit down and record, and it just it's just you're so out of your element that like it's hard to be productive.
Yeah, and
Jeff and Dave, the superstars, not in their proper working conditions.
I'm
I
not
love
saying
this.
that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that's the reason why I took a few days off at least. And then my grandmother passed away, and we were kind of just all came together because we would have been gone by then.
Yeah, we
and then had to
planned.
fly
Yeah, we
back.
planned on leaving a couple days after my sister's wedding, and then during that time, then Jeff's grandma passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucked because we were there much longer than we wanted to be, but also it kind of worked out that you didn't have to fly back,
Yeah.
for grandma's funeral.
Yeah, no, it all worked out, and I was absolutely elated to be back home. And we have a loaded show, actually. We've got a lot of stuff we didn't get to last time. We have the Disney Plus thing we didn't talk about. We've got, good old Stormin' Area 51 and the absolute fuck show that turned out to be.
I want to go next year. I want to go to Alien Stock 2020. That looked amazing. I'm mad we didn't plan to go.
I know, maybe we should. Well, we couldn't have. We had all this going on.
I know we couldn't have, but seeing how bad it was, I wish we had gone.
Yeah. So we have that.
We'll go next year. There's going to be a next year. We got it. And there'll be better food next year. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Arby's was there.
And better music because you saw the music thing.
All right. I'm trying to preview the show just a little bit here.
Okay,
And then we've
sorry.
got documentary that we watched last night on how those nature programs are shot, like Blue Planet, Planet Earth. That was really, really cool. And then also we have to find a new home, and we're going to talk about that actually next. And I don't know what you got for gaming news. I literally made this entire outline today. So under the gaming news, I just put 5M versus Steam because that's what we're dealing with right now. So we can go into detail about that. But yeah, new home. Our lease is coming up in February.
Oh, speaking of the home we're in, though, because
Yes.
our lease is coming up. But since this has been happening since the show started, today, when we got back, obviously the AC is still broken because that's just how we live. I called them, and they said we've been put on a critical fix list.
Critical fix.
12 weeks, and now we're a priority. So I feel like we made it. I'm so proud of us. I want to thank everybody in this house.
This will be the 7th attempt to fix the upstairs AC unit. I mean, it wasn't too bad today, as it is starting to cool down a little bit here in Florida. I mean, a little bit.
It's 93 today. What are you talking about?
I mean, in the evening time, it's just like it's not like so relentless on the crazy temps, but
Sorry. Anyway.
that's all right. We're new house. We have to make a decision of where we want to live, and we've been talking for a while. We were going to go to Tampa, Florida, and I don't know if we're going to do that. We have been brainstorming and thinking about things, and it's a very difficult decision to make because do we want to go to Tampa for a year? Do we want to go back to St. Louis? And the reason why we want to go back to St. Louis is mainly because of our families and our friends up there. But I mean, families mainly. I'm not going to give it to the friends too much.
Yeah. Well, our friends that we have there have stayed good friends with us. They come down and visit us all the time. So, I mean, we would see our friends regardless.
Right.
It is really hard as our families are getting older and stuff like that, and missing out on
missing out on everything. And and it's so weird on my end of my family. My sister moved back to St. Louis, and they're all like, they hang out more often than we did when we left. And that's kind of changed the dynamic because my sister has 2 kids, and the family is the biggest aspect there. Do we want to go back to St. Louis and stay, and then move somewhere we want to go? But I don't know. We're really, really, really trying to figure that out.
I think we'll have to sit down together this week and like make a pros and cons list.
Yeah, we actually there are a lot of pros and there are a lot of cons on each side.
Yep.
One of the cons is that living down here is you're always in party mode. You always want to party because it's beautiful, and everywhere you go, everybody's on vacation.
Yeah, I finally stepped on the scale. Since we moved down here, I have gained 21 pounds in 2 years.
In 2 years,
That's so great.
I think I gained at least 5 or so
Oh,
just
must
going
be
to St.
nice.
Louis. No, just going to St. Louis.
Oh, this 3
because
weeks.
I went on the Hot Shots tour of America.
Yes, you did.
My favorite place to eat in St. Louis, which is bar food. It's deep fried bar food. Like toasted raviolis. I miss those so much. And in beer and stuff like that with every one of those meals, and wings, and I ate like absolute dog shit while I was in St. Louis, and I think that's the reason why I feel the way I do.
So I love that our argument for not wanting to be here is that we're in party mode, but we just did that for 3 weeks in
know.
St. Louis.
Well, I was actually on vacation. That's the longest vacation I think I've ever taken from YouTube.
I think that's the longest vacation you've ever taken in your life.
Probably.
I lost weight recently, so I'm doing good.
You're doing all right. While we were there, we did meet up with the psychic / medium,
Oh yeah,
Lisa. She is the one that actually married me and Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it's going to be kind of like some people are going to cross their arms right now and go, I don't believe in that, which is fine. You don't have to believe in it.
I've been seeing her since I was 18 was the first time I saw her, and it was just kind of a random thing a friend took me to do. And my mom had gone to her a few times, and I was like, all right, I'll do this. It was like a quick reading, like a $20 and just see what happens. And she's huge. Now she doesn't even do readings anymore for like people. She'll do them for us because she loves us. Because I've known her for over 10 years now, but she like works with police officers now and helps with missing persons cases and things like that. So, but I'm so happy we were able to get into her.
We were, and it was very interesting. And yes, we did ask the golden question: how long we're all going to live together, us 3. And she says that she said the feeling was like it was good, that we have a good thing going, like we're an active and positive household of us 3 living together, and it's nice. I mean, especially down here, if we didn't have Dave, we would be working and stuff, and then we don't have a whole lot of people down here to hang out with, and I don't know. It's a different thing whenever Dave's gone, like in St. Louis. We've talked about that in the past, but.
We get a lot of shit when we go home.
Yes.
Like friends are always like, "Man, why is Dave's still living with you guys?" And I'm sure Dave's family's like, "They're married. What are you doing still living with them?" But we
Is that
work
an
really.
actual sin?
Living with a married couple?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so. But they,
I don't know what church.
They're wondering. Their mentality is, you guys are married, so that means babies. So why am I here when you're trying to start your family? That's where they're
We've got our
confused.
family.
Yeah, you are our family.
And then I'm like, they don't want kids, and they're like, oh, that's a shame. I'm like, no.
That was open for you to say they don't need kids. They've already adopted me. Like you could have said something along those lines.
I mean, they probably assume that.
Yeah, that's what I do. They're gonna find out. They're gonna be
But
like
she-
legal guardianship.
Lisa, she was saying that. She's like, I love the three of you together. It's so good. It just has such a good feeling. She's like, I love it. Stay together as long as you can.
Yeah.
She's like, she goes, but I get like a parental feeling, like you guys are mom and dad, and Dave's like the kid, and I was like, ha!
Yeah, you're not wrong. But it's gotten the dynamics gotten better. Like after the last time, actually our last show, we talked about it. I think is that we all were talking about that stuff. Not to beat a dead horse because we went into the great detail about that last time. But yeah, the absolute shit show that was the Area 51 storm in Area 51 raid. Now I've seen some videos. I followed it while I was in St. Louis on Twitter. I was like watching the live updates. And there was about 100 to 150 people that showed up at the actual main gate at Area 51 on the first night. And then it kind of waned out. And then I think there was probably over 1,000 people there all collectively, not at the gate, but just in Rachel, Nevada, right around Little Alien and all that. And they had a pretty makeshift stage.
It was like
The bands
the
were
joke was it was going to turn
local.
into a music festival, and that's
Right.
what they tried to make it, which I think is hilarious.
They changed the name to Alien Stock 2019 and threw a hashtag in front of it. And I was like, you know what? I've been following this for a while, and I don't recall when that switch happened.
No, that is a outside group trying to hijack it. That's what that is.
Well, that's stupid.
Someone was like, we can turn this into something and make some money. So someone went in and did it. I don't think the original creator is behind the organization.
It was
of
probably
that.
that piece of shit band that we heard playing. Sorry about your band, bro. Keep practicing. But it
There
was
were some
bad.
real bad ones. There were some bad ones. I don't think that anybody's gonna take it serious until you have like an actual headliner, like a decent band. Even if it's washed up from the 90s.
Hey, they had Arby's there. That was pretty big for
Yeah,
them.
Arby's trucks were there.
Yep.
Bud Light had that can designed for basically the whole thing, and I think that's awesome. You know, a company like AB is gonna lean into that meme and be like, yeah, we don't know who's gonna show up, and they in the whole town and the law enforcement there, which was. I think what happened was I think that the military and the law enforcement said this could go two ways. You know, it can go horrible, or we can just accept it and just have fun with it. And I think the military and the LEO both did that, which made like the thing at the gate very, very nice.
Yeah.
Which we had one person storm Area 51, an older lady.
No, 3 total.
Oh, 3 total. Okay, so I only know of the old lady. And she went underneath there, and she got, I think, was like a half mile in before the camo dudes showed up in the trucks, picked her up and took her to jail. And that's a hefty fine too. It's like $1,000 fine, and then it's like up to 3 years in prison,
So
depending on
there
the
were
case.
2 signs which confused me because one said $1,000 fine for crossing the gate, and then another one said up to a year in prison and $50,000 fine. So I think it's how far past the gate you try to go. It's like if you like go 1 foot in, they're probably like, oh no, we're gonna find you. But if you're running down the road, that's when they're gonna be like, lock them up.
I see. I didn't hear about the other 2.
I saw that on social media, so I didn't dive into it, but it was 2 guys apparently crossed. They got picked up from what I saw the headline, and then I didn't hear about the woman until you mentioned it. So
Yeah.
there at least about 3-ish were dumb enough to cross the line.
Well, it definitely was an opportunity for like YouTubers to go out there and film, and they did. Like Adam DeWoo was out there filming, and I watched his video on it, and that's why I was like, it was great because I mean, you want to see a documented actuality of what was there. That is what you watch because he filmed it in its entirety of every single trinket. It was like almost every single vendor that was in the Las Vegas area just packed up everything. Was like, let's go out there and sell alien shit. And that's what they did.
And non-alien shit. Like there were tables.
Yeah.
Like he was just walking by filming. He's like, "There's a random garage sale here," because it was just literally just random stuff on a
That's
table for sale.
awesome.
Yeah, I think they're kind of pandering to like hippies, but the people that showed up there were kind of like non-social people that like weren't the ones that I saw in there. They seemed to be like keyboard warrior kind of type.
I
of
love
people.
that. But the fact that they got out of their house and went and met up with people and did something is fucking
That's a win.
great.
Yeah.
That is a win.
It was kind of Burning Man vibes,
Mhm.
but like your nerdy basement dweller Burning Man. people. So that's
so
what I got.
we definitely should go next year.
Yes, I
Yeah.
want to go.
I think it would be fun. Well, I mean, we're already going to be out that way anyway for, well, it won't be. It'll be completely separate, but I've got Flight Sim Expo in Las Vegas next year.
Yeah.
But no, that would be fun to go to see that in person. It could legitimately be something really cool if they have the right organization. And one of the LEO that was interviewed said that he was like, it wasn't planned at all. It was a mess this year. He goes, but if it sounds like they want to do it next year, and if they do it next year, they're gonna like put it all together.
Yeah,
it could be something cool.
He
Yeah.
said they were excited for the planning, but the execution fell short.
Yeah.
So yeah, because he said they didn't know what to expect. That's why they had like 100 police officers. Rachel, Nevada has a population of 100. Like they were bringing police in from the surrounding towns.
They had a bunch there. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it was pretty much what you thought it would be. And then, the absolute loss of life, or not loss of life, but like worthless people on Twitter were constantly like, somebody should go storm it. They wanted them to die and get shot. And it's like, you know what? This is the kind of world we live in where people just want to see them die. And like,
Hey,
I commend them for going.
I feel like it was good enough. I'm just happy people showed up, and
Yeah.
that news reporter that had the Naruto running behind.
That was
Good
classic.
enough for me.
Yes.
That's all I wanted.
And that was the only Naruto run we saw. That we saw was just
Yeah.
that one dude that
Just
did it
one.
right there behind the news reporter, and everyone's like, "He's going down in history." He's the only one who stormed the correct way. Before we went on our break, we forgot to talk about Disney Plus.
Yes.
Let's go into that a little bit because basically it's like a Netflix, right?
It's Disney's new streaming service. I'm gonna pull the details up
Okay.
right now. So yeah.
I could do it too, but I got like a bunch of tabs on that.
Did you know
open
that
on
you
the-
can still get
iPad.
Netflix on DVD? Like you can still order the DVDs in the mail the
Yes.
way that it used to be.
Yeah.
Really?
No. Yeah. They kind of have buried that on their site. Like they don't really want people signing up because they've been phasing it out. But yeah, you can still get the DVDs, no problem.
I wonder who the hell still does that.
Netflix to come to my house directly.
Well, people that have really shitty internet, like
Yeah,
it-
that makes
not
sense.
everywhere has good internet, and you can still sign up, get your movies.
I don't
I
miss
don't know.
that because I'm a TV show watcher, like more than movies.
Oh yeah.
God, when you're trying to binge a TV show and you get 5 episodes at a time, you got to mail it in, wait for the next 5, mail it
Yeah, I
in.
know.
Oh, I hated that.
And now, yeah, everybody's kind of just used to that, just the dump, where everybody's just like, Netflix is like, here you go, here's a whole series.
Man, and
Have at her.
I bet you eventually Netflix will be its own like channel. Like they have their own movies, TV shows. They could have an actual cable channel if they want. I bet you cable wants that so bad to keep it going.
They do, but Netflix is going to do that because I really think that these companies are wanting to put an end to cable television. Like the nonsense that is with cable television, you want to just get internet. They're like, no, you got to get cable TV.
No, the big
No, I don't.
networks are all making their own.
Right. And that's what it should be. I've said that for a while. Like with NASCAR is the only thing I watch on DirecTV besides I watch Live PD now. That is worth it to me. And I don't know why NASCAR doesn't have their own. Like A&E should have their own, which I think they're going to eventually.
Yeah, we record 3 shows on cable: Live PD, SpongeBob, and Psychic Kids.
That's the only thing we have currently. Which, what's cool is that with Live PD, they have the new Live PD on Patrol or whatever it is, but it's basically more, it's like Cops. So it's edited down, but it has the different places that you normally don't see, which is really cool. And then Live Rescue.
So I got the details on Disney Plus. It launches November 12th. It's going to be $6.99 a month, and it's going to include all of everything from Disney, all the Disney Channel library, all the Disney library, all that. They have Star Wars, Marvel. It also comes with Hulu and ESPN, which that confuses me. Also, National Geographic is listed, so I guess Disney owns them. I don't know.
National Geographics.
Yeah. National Geographics. But So for basically $7 a month, you get all that. Disney, when they did their D23 conference, they announced a bunch of new shows that are being made specially for it. So there's like a few Star Wars shows.
D23.
It's their conference.
Oh.
They do once a year. It covers everything Disney, like on the business side of what they're
Well,
working
I just
on.
want to watch Tailspin and Even Stevens, and that's basically it.
Oh, even Stevens. No, I need some Phil of the Future. That was my shit.
I don't know the new Star Wars show they announced, or one of the new Star Wars
Yeah.
shows they announced. Ewan
Ewan
McGregor
Yeah.
is coming back as Obi-Wan.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He wanted to say Elon Musk.
So they're doing a whole Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and it's his show. He's the lead. So I think that's gonna be interesting because I do like the quality of the new Star Wars films. So them taking that to TV, I think is gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, and we watched The Last Jedi just recently.
Yep, I'm finally caught up.
So far behind on Star Wars. Yeah, we need to watch the other ones too.
Actually, I went to the movies more times when I was in St. Louis than I have in the past 2 years.
Yeah,
I saw all the scary movies.
yeah. You saw,
Hit Chapter 2,
yeah,
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I highly recommend.
yeah. You said that one was really scary, and it wasn't supposed to be.
Well, it's only rated PG-13, but it had some of the creepiest shit I've ever seen in scary movies. Like, they didn't go for that, like, gross factor or, like, there was no sexy stuff in there like there is in scary movies. It was just truly creepy stuff that, like, leaves images in your head and makes you, like, scared.
Another thing we did when we were in St. Louis, we stayed with my brother and his girlfriend, and we got to experience the sous vide, which I told you about last time I was in St. Louis. I got to go, and he made a steak in a sous vide, and she had never had it before. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a controlled water bath that cooks, and you can use an app on your phone and it talks to it and lets you know.
I downloaded the app that night. I was like, we're getting one of these. I'm making steak.
Ordered
I'm
it
like,
today.
So eating this steak so slowly because it was so good. I'd like never wanted it to end. And his brother's girlfriend is like, she's like, you don't have to finish that. I know that's. I was like, if you try to take this steak away from me, I swear to God, I'll stab you.
Yeah, and that was filet.
Don't touch it.
Filet
So
mignon.
good.
I did order those today. All three. And it's 1 day shipping, so I was supposed to be here tomorrow. All of it.
Guess what we having for dinner?
And you just went grocery shopping. Did you get stuff for it?
I have a lot. I
Oh,
bought
perfect.
a lot of meat.
Perfect.
So much meat in
But
this
I can't
house.
explain it. Like a sous vide is just absolutely incredible. I had no clue. So after you boil it or whatever, call it a water bath, but you sear it on the stove or on the grill or whatever you want, and you have perfectly cooked food, which is fantastic for, you can leave it in that water for up to 2 hours after it's done cooking, and it won't overcook. So you can make your sides and do everything else. It's really, really awesome.
I'm looking forward to it because I've never had it.
Oh my God, I'm so pumped. I can't.
I can't wait to see how many people say that in the comments, like how, because I know that it's been changing a lot of people's mind. Like it's on the rise. And it's really not that an expensive endeavor to get into. The sous vide itself is like the most expensive thing, and you don't have to get a like really fancy one. I don't even know. The one we got is like Jewel, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, only because they have all the recipes and the app and everything that go with it.
And that's
And-
$180.
Yeah, it was a little.
It's a little steep, but it's the better one. And I was like, you know what? I know we're going to use this thing, so let's get a decent one. But everything else that you need is pretty damn cheap. Like, you have to get a vacuum sealer.
You don't have to.
You don't have to?
No, you can use Ziplocs and squeeze all the air out of it. They said
Oh, well, there you go.
there's cheaper ways to do it, but I wanted to do it exactly like that because that was so good. I'm a food person.
Yes, I am too. I'm big into food.
I enjoy it. Okay, what you got? Did you have
Dave's
something?
looking at us over here
Oh.
like
No, I'm just doing.
he's still
some
talking
things.
about Disney. Maybe
No.
we got sidetracked. I know that we watched a documentary last night that was amazing, and it's called Our Planet, and it's basically the behind the scenes look at how they film Blue Planet, Planet Earth. I think it's the Blue Planet series, because it's the same dude doing the narration. And wow, if you think you have an idea of what they do, you don't, because when you see what they do, you're like, what?
Well, not only was it dangerous, like the stuff that they do is dangerous and crazy and takes a lot out of them to do. I couldn't watch it all that closely because they can't interfere with nature. Like, they're just supposed to capture nature, not
Right.
interfere with it in any way. So like when these animals are dying or, awful things are happening, they're there to film it. They're not there to stop it or interfere. They just have to watch this. And I'm like, Jesus, I could never do that job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I won't spoil it, but at the end of the documentary was probably the most heartbreaking part.
It gets rough.
It gets a little rough. So keep that in mind when you watch it. But I mean, watching them like film the sharks, that was amazing. In the Siberian tigers, they have to live out in these sheds, these blinds for like 6 months.
Well, that one they caught, it was like 2 years, they
Well,
said.
they could do it over winter, but it took 2 winters to get the footage. So it's one of those things where, it took them 2 years to get like 2 minutes of footage.
But it was amazing footage.
Yeah.
By the way, have you ever seen my hand like floating around? That's because I'm pointing to Dave. Like,
I got a lot going on. Like
I know. I got in my peripheral vision. I could see the main monitor over there, and I could see who's on what, and then I just kind of point to help Dave.
Yeah.
Like, movement in the peripherals. So if you ever see me waving, that's what I'm doing.
He's helped guiding me because I'm monitoring the entire setup, everything. So
I know what I want to talk about.
What
I
do you
won't
wanna
get
talk?
too sacrilegious, but
Okay.
so Jeff's grandma, who passed away, we went to her funeral.
Yes.
His family is super Catholic. So this was my first time in a Catholic church. If you have never been, I cannot recommend it enough. It is awesome.
Yeah, she thought it was amazing. Like,
I told Jeff, I'm like, you're taking me back on a Sunday. I need to see what all this is about.
You want to go to mass?
I kind of do. Dude, I have never seen that much crazy stuff happen in a church. I was like, I have been to like the evangelical churches in the middle of nowhere where everybody's screaming and falling in the aisles.
yeah, I've been to a bunch.
I have like, my dad dabbled in like Wiccan stuff when I was a kid. So I've been to like witch huts and stuff. I have never seen something so ritualistic
Yeah.
as inside of a Catholic church. That was nuts.
Yeah. And they burned the
awesome.
frankincense and the, was it myrrh?
Myrrh.
And waving that around, and that stuff was so potent. I was like, oh Jesus, literally. But everything is done in a ritualistic way. But see, for me, it wasn't weird. I knew she would get a kick out of it because she's never been. But I went to Catholic school. We had like Catholic mass every single
Like
morning.
everybody who went up to the front like bows before they step
Before you
up
get into
there.
the-
They bow. Well, okay, so
You
when
do
you
this.
walk in, no. When you walk in the door, you dip your fingers in the holy water and then you do that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And when you walk out. But when they went to walk up to talk,
Right, you have to
every
do it.
person who went up, no, they all went like this and bowed.
Oh, the bow. I know what you're talking about. Whenever they go
Every
up on
person,
the
I was
stage.
like,
Yeah, I was talking about whenever before you get in the pew, you have to
and then
kneel
he like
and
when they
then
were doing
do that.
the sacrament and he's like holding the cup up and chanting, I was like, oh my. I must have looked like a kid on Christmas morning. I was like, this is the coolest, craziest shit I've ever seen. Oh my God, I loved it.
It's very, very medieval.
Yes.
and every
They
time-
light the. Sorry.
you're right.
They light. There's a big red light or candle or
Yeah, it means
whatever.
the Lord
and
is
they,
present.
They light it, and I was like, "What is that?" So I'm googling everything in this church, like as it's happening. It means the Lord is present, and then a fucking bell is ringing. Sometimes they were just ringing a bell. I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" And then I'm looking at Jeff's sister, who's been to Catholic stuff before, and I said, "Do you think these people even know what this stuff means, or do you think they just do it because they grew up doing this
yeah,
shit?"
and I gotta say, like from experience, yeah, a lot of just even when I was in there, I just kind of knew it. You do it so much when you're young.
But does
like,
anybody ever tell you why you're doing it?
They
Or
do
why?
in Catholic school because that's what you have like a lot of in mass. You're learning about the religion. You're learning about how you're supposed to do it right. All that.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, and it's It's very old and medieval.
Oh, it is. I felt like I was in a movie, and I'm definitely going back. I'm definitely going.
Catholic weddings are really really
And
cool
they
too.
chant. Oh my God, that was the best part. I'm sorry. People chant together. Like they
Yes.
all just know what to say. There were like 5 or 6 different chants going on. The guy dressed in white robes is standing up there, and people start chanting back at him. And I wanted to chant, so I'm like chanting chicken wings. And I'm pretty sure Jeff's family didn't appreciate that, but it was awesome. Okay, that's all. Chanting. That's what I forgot. Oh, it was
Yeah.
so cool.
No, that was it was interesting, and I hadn't been in probably I haven't been to a Catholic mass since probably 2004 when my uncle passed away, and then before that was probably Catholic school. Once you go to Catholic school, it's like that's the last time I need to be in a Catholic church for me.
I've been to 3 weddings, and I went to 1 mass just to see what it was like, and
Yeah.
I was like, nope, not for me.
You don't like the stand up, sit down, kneel, stand up, sit down, kneel,
No,
sing.
Dave has because Dave is a Christian, it's
Christian.
his religion is right to him. Where I just went in not as a Christian.
Not as
I just went
yeah.
in to see what it was all about and loved it because it was crazy and awesome.
Oh, there's some stuff in there. It's just the ritual stuff. The traditional religion side of things, where like she's asking, like, do people even know the meaning, or do they just do it? And it's like, I knew people, like the family I went with,
Yeah.
where the kids I was friends with my age, they didn't know the meaning of anything. They were like, yeah, this is what we do. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this is why it's not for me. Like, you don't even know why you're here or what you're doing.
Well, and
Like,
that was the cool thing about like having Google at my fingertips. I'm sitting in there, I'm like, what's that do? And I'm Googling it. I'm like, oh, what's that do?
Yeah.
Googling it was awesome.
Well, yeah, it was interesting for certain. Moving along to gaming news.
gaming news.
Gaming news.
Woo.
Gaming news. Dee, 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 dee.
So I haven't really been keeping up with gaming news. The last 3 weeks have been crazy. The big thing though is we got it's not you put it what in your show notes as a battle between 5M and
No,
Steam.
I didn't. I just said 5M versus Steam,
versus.
and I didn't put ID afterwards.
Okay. You didn't put ID?
I would have put Steam ID because it's the Steam IDs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have the show notes up, so
Yeah, well, there you go.
yeah.
Well, there you go.
So no, Steam has been toying with updating their APIs, which are overdue. That's great. The problem is whenever a service updates their frameworks or APIs, it breaks things. So Steam, without warning, pushed out an update.
When we throw the word API out and we assume everybody knows what it is,
Okay,
can
you're
you
right.
just quickly glance on that
Okay,
or
so
graze it?
Davipedia.
What is an API, Dave?
they're gosh.
Because you can't just say API and just go, everybody knows what this means.
I mean, everyone should know what it means. No, so the API is a code hook that is provided by a service.
Okay.
So like all the big companies offer they're basically open to the public or developers to
Okay.
use.
What's it stand for?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So
I'm going to look it
I didn't
up.
know I was going to be in programming school.
Yeah, well, you know. you went for it.
Application programming interface. So,
Okay, that's what it is.
yes.
Did somebody put that in?
Yes, someone put that in the chat. So I'm on my second cup of coffee.
Okay, well,
today.
that makes sense.
I've been trying to put out fires all morning because of this news.
See if this
All right,
works.
well, continue on.
So
I tried.
we should just make that the segment, not gaming news.
That's true.
Davipedia time.
Davipedia time.
No.
ahead.
So these APIs, they allow like someone like me, like you have Steam, like Steam as a service. I can say, well, I'm going to make a tool that you can connect to your account that pulls up your games and statistics, or like build a chat into like on my website. Like I want it where I can chat, like you can connect and chat with your Steam friends on my website. So I would code it to talk to the API. So it can get to that background information
Right.
that they have to keep safe and secret, and that's a gatekeeper for the information that doesn't violate security. So, like, you're laughing. Anyway. So, like, Twitter has APIs, Google has APIs. This is how everything works,
Yeah.
is how it's offered. So, Steam changed their API. So, services that rely on it are breaking. And 5M a lot of servers communicate with Steam for whitelisting and other things. Now that they changed that, it broke it.
Okay.
So Steam did push out, not Steam, 5M did find a quick workaround. The thing, though, is with the way Steam is making changes, this could be a long-term fix. It could be a short-term fix.
Yeah.
But really, it's more of a wake-up call for anyone that uses third-party services, that when you rely on another company or another service to provide what you need, they are the ones in control. They can do things, they can change things, and then you have to scramble to fix it. And
Right.
that's kind of what my last 12 hours have been, because that dropped yesterday. I was like, well, I'll get to it in the morning. And then in the morning, another one of our third-party services decided it wanted to break, but I think it broke because of the fixes 5M pushed out. So it's been fun. So if you run a 5M server and you rely on Steam, good luck. That's all I gotta
It's
say.
almost like you put together a jigsaw puzzle and somebody came by and like smashed their fist in it, and they're
Yes.
like, "There."
See, now
Yeah,
that's the type
or-
of analogy we need right there. That makes sense to me.
Yes, but also when they smashed up some of your pieces, they were like, well, we're going to change a few of them, so it's not the same when you put it back together.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Suck.
yeah.
Hang
So-
on. I tried an alternate version of this. I want to
Okay.
play it and see what it came out as.
Davipedia.
Yeah,
You got
nailed
it,
Did you
yes.
hear
Oh,
that?
I do have a
Listen.
few other gaming news things I can cover.
Where's
Good
it
lord.
come?
Okay, we're going to move on past the.
Wikipedia.
Okay. Can,
It's Davipedia time.
can you send me
everybody.
that? I can get it here on the stream deck and then just fire it
Oh,
off.
God, that'd be
Wait,
great.
look.
Like, okay, here we go.
Davipedia. Where's my camera? Over there. Davipedia.
Oh.
That's what we
Got
always
it.
say, because we'll be driving in the truck. I'll be like, we don't even have to ask Alexa or Siri. Just say Davipedia, because Dave will be like, we'll tell you something, but we're not sure. There's no fact checking on it.
I just used Google Translate
Why?
and
Why?
put in Davipedia. Spell it like that. You got it.
Yep. All right. So other gaming news.
Yep. He's like, fuck you.
So yeah, no, with the 5M thing though, yeah, it's not every server relies on Steam. It's ones that are deep rooted in Steam are going to have a problem. So it's not a 5M wide thing.
Right.
Other than that though, I did sign up for Microsoft Game Pass for PC.
Yeah.
I got the first month for $1. It came with
insane.
Gears of War 5, Gears of War 4
For $1.
Yeah, Blair Witch, like it's officially on PC now, where before they offered like 10 games like Forza and Sea of Thieves. Now when you sign up, you get like 100 games. They're adding more to it every month. Like,
Well, it's not going to be $1 in the future. That's just for now.
No, it's going to be like 10 or 15 a month. But even then, so if it's 15 a month, and Microsoft keeps buying these studios, and their plan is to start putting, like, they're buying these studios up for their exclusive library. Every exclusive will be added to this service. So if you get 2-3 AAA exclusives a year that are worth playing, that's worth it. You're saving money. So like I plan on playing Gears of War 4 and 5. I'm going through Blair Witch. Like there's games that are worth it. And then when they don't have the games you want, you just cancel, wait for the next game to come out, and then re-sign up. Like
Yeah.
it works.
Oh, yeah. I think that might be worth getting, honestly.
Yeah, it's.
And it's only, is it still going on? Is the promo still going on for the $1?
I don't know because I signed up when Gears of War 5 was coming out.
Right.
I signed up and it installed and I clicked play and it's like game has not been released yet. And I had to wait 3 days. It was on my computer already to play it. And I haven't even played it yet because stuff got chaotic.
Yeah.
But it's on my list to play. Although it's a direct sequel to 4, which I didn't know, so I might have to play 4 first.
Yeah, NASCAR Heat 4 was released on the 13th? Yeah, it was 13th because you could get it early if you got a pre whatever.
That's
Pre-purchase.
also the new thing. Anyone like all these games that have been coming out, the people who pre-ordered are getting them early. So my brother had Gears of War 5, which is what made me look into the PC one. He beat the game before I could even play it. Like he was done. Like he was like, "Well, great game," and I was like, "I gotta wait till tomorrow to play it." Like it's so they're doing that now as an incentive to pre-order because pre-orders are going down because people are getting sick of getting burned.
Yeah.
They hype a game up, you get it, and then it's not as good as the hype. and people are getting sick of that.
Well, yeah, and I can see both sides of the argument on that, but a lot of today's gaming culture is that everything sucks. What does it matter? So I can understand why.
I don't think necessarily pre-orders are okay. This is what I think. I think before those like pre-releases and like games coming out in alpha and beta, that's where the burn is. The burn
Right.
zone's in there where they give you a
Yes.
little bit, you pay for it, and then the full game never comes out. I don't think that the way games have been pre-ordered or the amount, I don't think that's changed that drastically. Coming from like fully finished pre-orders of fully finished games.
Yeah, AAA titles or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
If they don't like the people, I mean, there are always people, but there are people who buy a game the day it comes out and they're like, this game sucks.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm gonna take it back. I did that once with God, it was a I don't remember which one it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Medal of Honor close combat style game in like 2009 or something, or maybe been 2010 or something. But it came out and I was like, this is horrible, and I just took it back and they gave me $15 for it, and I just paid $60 for it. I was like, I'll take Apache whatever Hunter it was, and that game was amazing.
Yeah.
So it was worth it to me.
Yep. Yeah. Other than that, I got Borderlands 3 that came out.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't played it. It looks amazing.
We need to play that.
Yep. So excited for that. Although I have been reading stories on how it has been running horrible on a lot of consoles, like PS4 Pros, Xbox Ones. They're getting
NASCAR Heat, the same thing.
Random frame drops where people don't understand
Yeah.
why.
Heat 4, that just
So-
came out, and they had the same exact issue. They're having like big problems, and it has to do with the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X. Is that what it's called? The Xbox One X?
That is the
So many
better
names.
version. Yeah.
Yeah. So like these better versions are having problems with some of these games. And I know for a fact that whenever 704 released NASCAR Heat 4, it was an absolute mess with Xbox and PlayStation stores and their DLC, not the patches and stuff. People couldn't even get like stuff that they pre-ordered, and it was like, and it sucks for a video game company because it's like, dude, we sent them everything we had. It's what else
Yeah.
is there for us to do? It's up to the store to give it to you, and everybody's all mad about the game company, and it's like, dude, Xbox and PlayStation dropped the ball on this. I don't know what to tell you.
Yep.
It happens a lot.
A lot of people don't understand that when you're going with a big company like that and it's not through it's not a PC release and even on PC, like those marketplaces are gatekeepers. You have to submit stuff. It has to get approved. It's not, I finished the game, boom, here you go, out.
Yeah.
Everyone gets it. Like, you got to go through a big checklist, and that takes time and business days, and it's not I'm not saying it's not
business
easy.
days.
Well, no. So like when I was with an indie company, we put a game on the Xbox Live Indie Market, and when you got denied, you had to wait 10 business days to resubmit. So it wasn't it was like 2 weeks, but it was like it had to be business days. So if there was a holiday and they were like, it wasn't considered a business day, that didn't count. And it was just one of those things where they emphasized the business day thing, and it was obnoxious.
I remember that game. That was like right after. Was it right after me and Dave met, or right before?
Right around.
Because I was already friends with the
What was
people
the
you
name
were
of it?
making the games. Cecil.
Cecil
Jenkins. Notebook Adventures.
Because I remember the guy I was friends with in Dave's company was like, we're going to give whatever to whoever can finish this game, like the first person who finishes.
Yeah,
My ex at the time sat down and beat that game in like 12 hours. He was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, no, I'm going to win now. Because it became like this super competitive. Whatever happened with that?
So it turned into, we found out we unknowingly were running a scam. We just didn't tell anyone. So behind the scenes here. No, our one programmer at the time, we gave him a complete copy of everything to help finish it up so we could fix some things. Well, he decided he wanted to throw in some Easter eggs for him and his buddies that we didn't know about or approve. So he modified one of the levels to add a secret area where there was a wall, and if you ran up to the wall, you could run through it, and it would drop you down to this area where there was a bunch of money and like little shout outs to his friends.
Yeah.
We didn't know about that till after we released it. He
To the stores.
He screwed up are like the second to the last level or the last level where there was these really hard jumps that were like almost pixel perfect jumps. He bumped over one of the blocks. You couldn't make the jump. The game was literally unbeatable. The version we shipped. Now in testing, I beat every level because I was in charge of testing.
Yeah.
I could beat the game. The commercial or the release production version, unbeatable. I couldn't go back. I tried. I went back to rebeat it. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because he modified the code.
Wow. Well, the debacle of Cecil Jenkins, I vote Dave needs to do a playthrough of the game that he helped build.
I don't even know if we can actually acquire it anymore.
Really?
I'm pretty sure
You don't have it on a USB drive somewhere?
I can dive through some old hard drives and see if I can dig it up. The problem is it's built on stuff that I don't even know. I don't know.
Anymore. Yeah.
I don't know. Also, I mean, I was involved with the company. I don't know.
Well, that's a good segue for the next thing to just kind of round out this episode in general is that another documentary we did watch was Inside Bill's Brain, which was about Bill Gates and Microsoft. And I got to say, Bill in his old age now, I really like him. And I think and I support what he's doing. It's incredible. He's like Elon Musk. It's like they're trying to actually do things to change the world. Like Bill Gates is involved in sanitation, and no one wants to talk or work on that project because it's an absolute mess, pardon the pun, but it's a nightmare. And
so
to see what they're doing is incredible.
With sanitation, what do you mean by that?
Like he's creating toilets and clean drinking water and what else was he doing? He was trying to
the chemical treatment plants. Yeah.
So there are people who don't have clean water because they don't have sewage systems or the proper energy to run a sewage system. So he's trying to make a self-sufficient energy, like electricity, basically that runs off of sewage, and that's byproduct is clean, drinkable water.
Yeah.
Which is fucking cool.
It is. And the toilets were like, that they were designing were like $50,000. And he was like, these have to be 500. So and what's really, really, really sad is that a lot of that, it's a whole nother topic. But regardless, it's a very cool documentary to watch and to see a little bit inside of what's going on with Bill Gates, because everybody thought he retired, and he definitely didn't retire. He's like, we're going to start our own foundation, and we're going to change these things, which I think is amazing because, even whenever Elon Musk is like, oh, we're going to build these tunnels in L.A. and we're going to have cars, and Twitter's like, you're an idiot, it's never going to work, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, what are you doing? And I've said this to both of you guys, but it's like the difference between Elon Musk and some random asshole on Twitter is that he's doing shit, and they're not doing shit, like, at all. They're just like, this never going to work because of this and this and this. It's like they're actually trying and actually changing the world, like actually doing stuff, and you're doing nothing. And that's the biggest issue with a lot of that kind of like hate culture that is on social media, is that we've got people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates doing this stuff, and you have people just shitting on them for it. And it's like, what are you doing with your life that's so important to change humanity?
You know what, though? I told you this. What brought this up that I said I saw some? Because I was looking up like different Buddhist temples and stuff. And it's only been, 4 months now? 4 or 5 months since I quit social media.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. Like so I'm looking up photos of these Buddhist temples, and every other photo is like a girl taking a selfie of herself in front of a temple or doing like a yoga pose in front of a temple. And I was like, this is super cringy and terrible. And I'm really happy that I no longer post dumb shit online anymore, thinking that
because you said
anybody
I could
gives a
see
shit.
myself doing that without even knowing that it was wrong.
Yeah, I said I could have easily, because when you're on social media every day, and what made me think of this is because when you're on social media every day, different social media culture becomes normal to you. Like posting every negative, shitty thought that you have in your brain and just shitting all over other people's ideas, it becomes normal to you. You can see that in the YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't like a video, instead of just clicking off of it, they're like, fuck you for making this. You're the worst. You should die. Like, Why do we think that's okay to put out there? But the same thing, just simple stuff like quit posting a selfie of yourself in front of a fucking sacred building. And now I like think of all the cringy, stupid, awful, shitty things I've posted online over the years, and I'm like, I don't deserve the internet.
Like there was the Instagrammer that got flack for going to Chernobyl after the show came out. Like Instagrammers were going and visiting Chernobyl and posting selfies and doing photo shoots, and people are like, this was a horrible disaster. Lots of people died in horrible ways, and you're
well, in a sense, they're profiting off of it.
Well, that, and it was like the one that got flack. It wasn't like just a selfie. Like she was in yoga pants and was like sticking her butt out and was taking like sexy photos at Chernobyl, and people were just like, "What is wrong with you?" And like it happens. Same thing with the temples. Like they actually have to have signs out for tourists in Japan telling people like no selfie sticks, like be respectful, and the police will actually ask you to leave if you're doing that.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tacky and I hate it.
Well, it's a growing thing. We'll have to see what it what becomes of the influencer world, because the influencer world is just like taking off like crazy. It's gonna have some sort of crash eventually.
People just need to at some point be like, maybe I shouldn't have the selfie stick out right now.
Yeah.
Like it and I think it comes with age. I think people, the influencers that are really young, they don't care. They're just out there living their best life. But like even when I was super into social media, like heavily into it. I was on every social media platform, even ones that were like out of the country. Like I signed up for everything. Now I'm like, I don't even want to look at Facebook. Like I'm just past that. I don't want it anymore.
I use Twitter for YouTube reasons, and I've learned that the very few times that I ever say something, because I see something, I'm like, this is just stupid. And I'm like, well, maybe somebody wants to hear, like, they don't. No one wants to hear anything we have to say.
That's exactly what I was going to say to Dave. What people need to think is, does anybody give a shit?
They do not.
No. Is what you're about to say life-altering and that important to somebody? Probably not.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of, like, you see something that you disagree with, and you're like, this is stupid. And people are like, all I see is negative shit come from you on Twitter. I'm like, then don't follow me, because I don't ever use Twitter for that reason. Like, fair amount of it is like, computer issues. I'm trying to convey to the audience that this is the issue at hand, and this will be fixed, or it's not fixed, or whatever, or why I can't find something. I got to stop doing that myself, because Howard Stern actually said that recently, and it's so true. It's like, the only thing that happens when you tweet is that bad things come from that. It's like, it's not like you're changing somebody's life by a tweet. And not to mention that, you put a tweet out that's on a controversial subject, chances are you're going to end up hurting yourself, because all these celebrities that get in trouble for a bad tweet or something like that, if they just would just resist the urge and just not say shit, they won't be in trouble.
The ones that feel the need to be the first to say something about it usually are the ones that have the most backlash, because they get it wrong most of the time.
I'm even considering, because if we move back to St. Louis, obviously I did hair there for 8 years. So I have a good clientele, but I have no way to reach out to them. So it's been like weighing pretty heavy on me that, is there a way for me to get back into my business without social media?
So with my attitude towards social media has been, even since the beginning, is that it's best for conveying information. So it's like, if you have information to get out there, that's how it should be utilized. Like, I don't want to follow people and hear about their just daily activity. I want information, which is why most people I follow are game developers, stuff like that. Stuff where they're like, when they tweet, it's something that I would like to know, not got some Starbucks, or
drop my Starbucks coffee today.
Yeah, like I don't want that kind of stuff. So, like, I feel like if you're just using it for business, that is a best case scenario. Like, that's how it should be used. The problem is a large chunk of people on social media don't need to convey information, so they just overshare.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I had to stop myself from from actually tweeting was that I've seen these NASCAR YouTubers that like play NASCAR games or talk about NASCAR and stuff. Is that they'll be the first ones to spout off, and they will say horrible, shitty things about the sport, about this and this and this, and I understand where they're coming from. They're like, this is what I believe in, but you're not going to work with NASCAR in the future by doing this. And some of these people really want to. They're like, I want to work with NASCAR and I want to do this. You think they're going to be like, oh yeah, we've been waiting for you to come work for us after you talk shit about us for fucking years. I've seen that in so many. It's just that's a small little niche thing, it's NASCAR YouTubers, but people really got to think about what they're saying before they do it. And it's no one, and it's somebody who follows somebody, so it pops up on my feed, and I hate that. And it's just been it's been interesting. It's been nonstop with just seeing that shit on Twitter, and I have to just go, I'm not gonna tweet. Not gonna do it. I promise.
Yeah, well, that's just we see that in the young culture now. Young people who think that they're all going to be famous and they're all worth this. I don't know, their egos and then.
So if you're going to be famous, stop and think before you tweet, because famous people are getting dragged for 10-year-old tweets. You think that being edgy now is going to help you be famous in the future? If anything, it's going to destroy your future career.
Yeah.
People are dumb.
As a burger flipper.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Roommates podcast.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be back on next Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, as always. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.